culture is more than just entertainment. It's a lens into society, relationships, and human behavior. I'm Grace, and here on The Grace Report, we dive into stories beyond the headlines. Whether it's reality TV drama, celebrity scandals, or royal family intrigue, I'm here to break it all down. What it means, why it matters, and how it reflects the world we live in. Join the conversation, share your take, and let's make sense of the culture shaping our lives one story at a time. Hello, everybody. Happy Christmas Eve. Or is it Merry Christmas Eve? Somebody please SOS, let me know the way I'm supposed to be greeting people, because I've been saying both, trying to see if somebody's going to correct me and put me on the proper path. We've got a lot to discuss in this stream. We are going to continue reading the Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni lawsuit. I started reading this yesterday, but unfortunately there was just so much content that I didn't have the time to continue. I think I did about an hour and a half. So today I'm about to continue reading for the next hour. And I believe we will officially be a little bit more than halfway through at this point. And then we're going to have to schedule another time to continue, because I do have the morning report that I have to do at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I don't have all the time in the world for this, unfortunately. Now, let's get into the lawsuit. I'm about to pull it up here. And, where we left off, we were talking about how Blake Lively's team showed that there was a marketing plan in place. Justin Baldoni was adhering to the marketing plan, which was to not be so doom and gloom about the film, to echo more of a message of hope. And then he suddenly turned heel, so to speak. So here is a photo that they provided as evidence of Justin Baldoni with influencers, at a flower shop, Lily Bloom's flower shop, talking about how he's going to be giving tours and whatnot. Okay, so let's get into line 83. In advance of the release of the film, nearly all cast members chose to appear in public separately from Mr. Baldoni, given his on-set behavior. Mr. Baldoni became concerned that the public would discover that something is much bigger under the surface on information and belief, alluding to the complaints lodged by Ms. Lively and others. At that point, Mr. Baldoni pivoted away from the film's marketing plan to explain his absence from the rest of the cast. He shifted his focus away from a message of female triumph to instead capitalize on female trauma. After the film's premiere, Mr. Baldoni changed his Instagram profile, canceled lighthearted social media posts, and instructed his team to look for survivors' reactions and support, all in an effort to quickly shift his own public narrative to focus solely on survivors and domestic violence organizations. Now, I do have to mention to you guys as well that more people are coming out in support of Blake Lively, and these two are the final nail in the coffin for Justin Baldoni, in my humble opinion. We will talk about this in depth on the morning report. However, here I will just let you guys know that SAG-AFTRA has spoken up in support of Blake Lively, and Sony Pictures has also spoken up in support of Blake Lively. Sorry, Justin, but you flew a little bit too close to the sun here. At that point, Mr. Baldoni pivoted away. Ms. Abel cautioned Mr. Baldoni that this shift might be too drastic too soon. Still, Mr. Baldoni insisted on a TikTok strategy and that his promotional activities for the film should seek to amplify what he described as, quote, survivor content. So now this is proof of it. Again, these text messages were obtained through a subpoena, okay? This is a message from Justin Baldoni to Jennifer Abel, his publicist, that says, and I quote, "Hey, just landed. What is a TikTok strategy? I'd like you guys to start posting me only talking about DV and clips and why this movie is so important." And this was a message sent on the 8th of August. The team followed Mr. Baldoni's instruction. For her part, Ms. Abel concluded, "It doesn't feel performative now that you've done major substantial press on the topic." On August 11, 2024, Ms. Abel laid out a posting timeline to Mr. Baldoni and the team stating, "Theater surprise, and then I think survivor content first thing tomorrow a.m., which then will be helpful for news cycle." Again, isn't it crazy that he was hiding behind real victims of DV in order to puff up his own image against a woman who was speaking out against, harassment? Like, it's wild. By repositioning Mr. Baldoni's marketing of the film on information and belief, Mr. Baldoni hoped to create the false impression that he had chosen not to appear alongside other cast members. Mr. Baldoni directed his team to share his public Instagram feed, the private messages he had received from survivors sharing their stories of DV with him. Again, that's crazy that you took real people's stories about like traumatic moments in their lives to bolster your own image as a woman is dealing with being traumatized by you, allegedly, right? Mr. Baldoni's team talked him out of this idea, writing that they do not recommend using private DMs as content. So this is a message of Justin requesting that. I need you guys to really be on all the stories I'm tagged in. I think you should let all people DM me so you can see people's reactions to the film, and I can be reposting everything. These next 36 hours are crucial, and we need to be on it, looking at everything, finding the most emotional and touching content from survivors, supporting this film, and reposting. Need you to be finding survivors, sharing their stories, and amplifying them on my page and TikTok. Yikes. Mr. Baldoni went so far as proposing to share a video of a woman's birth moment, but his team talked him out of it, warning that it might be perceived as weird. Was too intimate. Still, Mr. Baldoni's team was more than willing to deploy survivors' stories, reactions, and images to protect Mr. Baldoni's image. Section E is about Mr. Baldoni and his team formulating a retaliatory plan. Wayfarer knew the details of Ms. Lively's and others' concerns, the HR complaints raised regarding Mr. Baldoni's and Mr. Heath's behavior, Ms. Lively's contractual rider, and the January 4th, 2024 meeting to discuss their behavior. In addition, Wayfarer's PR team knew about the claims by Ms. Lively and others, as well as the protections rider, as Wayfarer sent the materials to them in November of 2023. As early as May 2024, Mr. Baldoni told his team that they needed a plan to get ahead of the claims against him in the event that they were to go public. Specifically, Mr. Baldoni wrote, "Just want you guys to have a plan. Plans make me feel more at ease." On May 17th, 2024, Mr. Baldoni, texted his publicist, Jennifer Abel, that Ms. Lively had blocked him on social media, stating we should have a plan for if she does the same when the movie comes out. So this is news to me, you guys. I had no idea that Blake had blocked Justin on social media. Do you remember seeing that? Because I only remember like people speculating like, hey, why is it that Justin is doing his interviews apart from everyone else? This is kind of weird. But now, and then like the unfollowing, but I didn't know it was a full-blown blocking situation. Like that's major. Hey, Pop-Tart, always question performative people. I agree 1000%. A lot of times they're doing that to hide the skeletons in their closet. In June 2024, a month after Mr. Baldoni's first promotional event for the film, Ms. Lively and others in the cast fulfilled their first publicity obligation for the film without Mr. Baldoni. They did not publicly discuss the misconduct that had occurred on set, nor did they ever suggest to Wayfarer or Mr. Baldoni that they intended to discuss their concerns publicly. Yet on June 20th, 2024, Ms. Abel texted Mr. Heath her concern. "We can't have fans starting to guess why JB is left out of this stuff." Likewise, Mr. Baldoni strategized with his publicist, Ms. Abel, about various ways in which they might cover up or explain away his on-set misconduct. On June 24, 2024, for example, Mr. Baldoni proposed an offensive move showing his neurodivergence and some of the attributes that come with it to explain that anything he had been accused of was social awkwardness and impulsive speech. So first, you want to use victim stories to pad up your own image. And now you want to explain away your alleged harassment of people, right? Calling them sexy when they don't want to be called that, creeping up on them, allegedly creeping up on them when they're nude, all sorts of things, showing them your wife giving birth and whatnot as neurodivergence. I hate this for the neurodivergent community. You know, the way that people try to explain away bad behavior this way, as if to say that, hey, anything bad, about anyone is rooted in that, so people who have this are just not great people. And that's just a terrible message to be sending. I cannot overstate how disgusted I am by that. So now we've got the text message in question. And it's from Justin to his PR agent, Jennifer. And it says, "Hey guys, one thing I think I want to do is a Dr. Amen show. Matt, I know you have your feelings about it, but his practice saved my friend Miranda's life a few months ago. With everything going on, I want to have an offensive move showing my neurodivergence and some of the attributes that come with it so that I can start talking about it. Most anything that I have been, quote, accused of is social awkwardness and impulsive speech. And I think me sitting down with him and just looking at my brain and talking about some of these things will be helpful for me." The same day, Ms. Abel reviewed again and agreed upon list of protections that form the basis of the contractual rider. On July 24, 2024, Ms. Abel emailed Mr. Heath and others requesting the legal letter that was sent to Ms. Lively and her team, stating, "Per our conversation, we will go through point by point and draft context surrounding each situation. We can then flag what we're missing that would be helpful to arm us in the case we need to refute any of the claims." On July 26, 2024, Mr. Baldoni sent Ms. Abel a Variety article about Francis Ford Coppola's inappropriate behavior on set during the production of his movie Megalopolis, including his alleged kissing of cast and crew as described by unnamed sources. In conveying the article, Mr. Baldoni stated, "This is the ish I'm sure they want to do. Unnamed sources, etc." This man was in full-blown panic mode. Every message that he was sending to his agent was just so panicked. And it was never like, "Oh my God, like I'm going to be framed. I never did this. I never did that." It's very much like, okay, this stuff, happened, and I'm going to use victims to shield myself. I'm going to use neurodivergence to shield myself. All sorts of just like sneaky behavior. Yes, absolutely. Isn't it, Courtney? And, this is why everybody's coming out to side with Blake Lively. SAG-AFTRA is speaking up in favor of Blake, Sony Pictures, etc. Right? And another co-star from the film, it's a male named Brandon something. He's also spoken out. He urged people to read the lawsuit in full and the New York Times article describing the smear campaign. On July 29, 2024, Mr. Baldoni and Ms. Abel discussed a proposal to get ahead of any potential publicity regarding Ms. Lively's HR complaints against him with a, quote, social and digital combat plan. Wayfarer engages Melissa Nathan and the agency group on behalf of Mr. Baldoni to launch a retaliation campaign against Ms. Lively. That's Section F. As the film's release date of August 9, 2024 drew closer, Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, Wayfarer, Ms. Abel, and others continued to pursue a strategy on behalf of Mr. Baldoni and Wayfarer to, quote, arm themselves against the possibility that Ms. Lively or others might go public with the claims against Mr. Baldoni or Wayfarer. This plan took shape with Wayfarer's retention on behalf of Wayfarer Mr. Baldoni of Melissa Nathan, which occurred on or about July 31st, 2024. Melissa Nathan is a crisis manager. On or about June 20th, 2024, Ms. Nathan launched the agency group PR, TAG. TAG markets itself as a team of crisis specialists and communications experts that redefines the rules of reputation management. TAG's website states, at TAG, it's more than just creating a powerful narrative. It's knowing how to navigate that narrative towards continued success and a lasting legacy. TAG's website states that it offers comprehensive communication services for individuals, businesses, and corporations looking to invest in reputation management and the growth of their unique public profiles. TAG specializes in crisis communications, having managed some of the biggest public-facing crises to date, and utilizes that fast-paced reputation-first mindset with all of its day-to-day clients, which span a variety of industries, including entertainment, media, business, and sports. TAG services include messaging and narrative development, media relations, crisis communications and management, and digital and social strategy, among others. By July 31st, 2024, Wayfarer had started to put together a timeline of events to be shared with Ms. Nathan and TAG. According to TAG's own planning document, the purpose of Ms. Nathan's engagement was to help Mr. Baldoni get ahead of the narrative. and mitigate bad press that might arise from Ms. Lively's and others' HR complaints becoming public by engaging in techniques such as a, quote, rapid response communication system and cataloging third-party advocates willing to provide a potential quote or engage with reporters on Mr. Baldoni's and Mr. Heath's behalf to mitigate negative narratives from a source outside of Wayfair. And so you see they're talking about they've got new exhibits. Trust and believe those receipts are coming up probably in the next page. As set forth above, on August 5th, 2024, Mr. Baldoni sent Ms. Abel a screenshot of a thread on X regarding another female public figure's alleged history of bullying many women. Mr. Baldoni stated, "This is what we would need." So we saw that in yesterday's reading of part 1. That was a Twitter thread about Hailey Bieber. The next day, even though Ms. Nathan and Tag had already begun performing work on behalf of Wayfair and Mr. Baldoni, Ms. Nathan texted a text chain with Ms. Abel and Mr. Heath, providing pricing quotes ranging from $75,000 to $175,000 for Tag's crisis mitigation services. Ms. Nathan explained the quotes as follows. Quote 1, $175,000. This will be for a 3 to 4 month period and includes website, full Reddit, full social account takedowns, full social crisis team on hand for anything, engage with audiences in the right way, start threads of theories. This is the way to be fully 100% protected. So that takedown Twitter thread that Justin wanted against Blake, modeled after the one against Hailey, that was in that price range. Quote 2, $25,000 per month. Minimum 3 months as it needs to seed, same as above. This will be for creation of social fan engagement to go back and forth with any negative accounts, helping to change narrative and stay on track, Ms. Nathan stated. All of this will be most importantly untraceable. There's a lot more to both of these quotes, but easier to discuss via phone in terms of capabilities and what I have personally experienced in and out of crisis scenarios. So if you ever got into some kind of a debate with someone on a Twitter, on Reddit, on TikTok about this situation, you might have been communicating with someone from Justin's crisis PR team. Isn't that crazy? It's not regular people that you're seeing. These are people paid to have you believe the worst about Blake Lively. So now, here are the exhibits that they had referenced. You see Melissa Nathan, the crisis person, explaining everything that was just outlined. So a lot of this was quoted already, but the stuff that wasn't, it says, Justin felt incredibly supported after that call today. He's lucky to have you all. We took the day today to do some research and get digital quotes in from the 2 teams we use that get the best results. As you're both aware, we're in a predicament that we just do not know the outcome of right now. Saying that, full transparency here, we have seen the most innocuous issues turn giant due to socials, or the hugest crisis have no effects on social whatsoever. You just cannot tell at this stage. But Blake Lively does have some of the Taylor Swift fan base, so we will be taking it extremely serious. We also understand audience is not solely Justin Baldoni fan base, but the studio. So it's covering all bases. So those are the price quotes that we saw earlier. And then she's trying to, get them to buy, essentially. The Hollywood Reporter announced the retention of Ms. Nathan and Tag on August 13, 2024. That report stated in part, the news comes days after sleuths flooded TikTok with speculation about an alleged rift between Baldoni and his cast and crew, including co-star and producer Blake Lively, as well as Hoover. Chatter spiked when fans noticed Baldoni's absence from joint press events and the lack of group photos of Lively and Baldoni together at the New York premiere August 6th. Some also pointed out that neither Lively or Hoover or the rest of the cast follow Baldoni on Instagram. So I guess the whole Hollywood Reporter is kind of like the Daily Fail in that they can be bought out by people, because that is what they're alluding to in this paragraph, right? That some Tag PR joining forces with the Hollywood Reporter cannot be a coincidence. Hey, Caroline. Nice to see you here. Good morning. We are just not wrapping up because I don't think we'll be able to finish this today, but we're continuing on with part 2 of the Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni lawsuit. Now we move on over to section F. Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, and Wayfarer perpetrated a retaliation scheme against Ms. Lively. Ms. Abel, Ms. Nathan, and others employed or engaged by TAG perpetrated a retaliation scheme against Ms. Lively in collusion with Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, and Wayfarer. This scheme was that TAG described as a social manipulation plan relying on direct and constant media engagement, the seeding of content on traditional and social media platforms, the boosting of content, sometimes the very content that TAG and its affiliates had seeded, the suppressing of negative comments or content about Mr. Baldoni, and amplifying the negative content about Ms. Lively. On August 1st, 2024, before any of the cast sat down for interviews at the film's press junkets, Ms. Abel stated to Mr. Heath and Wayfarer personnel that she had held an in-person meeting with a contributor to People, Fox News, In Touch, and Us Weekly. Ms. Abel explained that during the meeting, she had fully briefed the contributor of the situation with Ms. Lively. Ms. Abel stated that the contributor was armed and ready to take the story of Blake weaponizing feminism and assured Mr. Heath that the contributor will do anything for us. So guys, these are the outlets now, remember them. Hollywood Reporter, People, Fox News, In Touch, and Us Weekly. So think of people that have had their images sanitized or ruined by these people. Don't forget the Daily Fail as well. I will say, though, that I think that People and Us Weekly and In Touch are typically used more on the positive side of things. I don't really see them trashing people the way you see some of these other outlets. Jennifer wrote to Jamie Heath, "Thanks for the call. Confidentially, I'm out to dinner with a friend of 12 plus years who writes for People magazine, Fox News, In Touch, Us Weekly, and she's fully briefed of the situation and is armed." So that's exactly what they said happened, and they've got the proof. She and her team really, truly made sure that they were on it. Like, there is no allegation here that hasn't been backed up by either text message or email proof, or the fact that they have a witness there who is ready to testify on Blake's behalf. On or around August 2nd, 2024, Ms. Abel connected the contributor with Ms. Nathan. Subsequently, Ms. Nathan engaged directly with media sources on behalf of Mr. Baldoni and Wayfarer regarding Mr. Baldoni, Ms. Lively, and the film. I do also have to go back and say that how shameful is it that it was a female journalist who was freelancing for all of these magazines, right? And she was briefed on the situation, which I'm assuming means that she was briefed on the fact that Justin is potentially guilty of behaving extremely inappropriately with Blake Lively. And her takeaway from this was, hey, I'm going to go use my power and my platforms as a journalist to take this as a moment to trash Blake Lively and claim that she's weaponizing feminists. Like, listen, there's a saying in the Black community, which is not all skin folk are kinfolk. It means just because someone's like, the same race as you doesn't mean that they wouldn't stab you in the back the way that someone who's racist or whatever, might do the same. And I think is there something like that amongst women? Not all women, we got to have something. Like, sometimes there are women who will do anything to destroy another woman, knowing that it's wrong. Right? Like, it disgusts me. Hi, Ronnie. So nice to see you here. Your name reminds me of Ronnie Negus from Real Housewives of Vancouver. Now, there's a throwback. I kind of want to go back and binge that now. On August 2nd, 2024, Ms. Nathan, Mr. Baldoni, Ms. Abel, and others had a phone call to discuss the services that Ms. Nathan and TAG would provide for Mr. Baldoni and Wayfarer. Subsequently, on August 2nd, 2024, TAG circulated a document to Mr. Baldoni and others entitled Scenario Planning. It ends with us, as described above. And again, they've got the receipts. Of note, the scenario planning document states, there are several potential scenarios at play here which we should be prepared for, should Ms. Lively and her team make her grievances public. The scenario planning document provides TAG's recommendation to get ahead of this narrative. This included suggesting misleading messaging that, 1, production members lost their jobs due to Ms. Lively's takeover and insisted upon involvement. Be honest, guys, did you hear that story go out? I sure did. Number 2, Ms. Lively involved her husband to create an imbalance of power between her and Mr. Baldoni. That's something else that I heard in the press when all of this was going down. 3, Ms. Lively has a less than favorable reputation in the industry. I don't remember that one being out there, but so far I'm 2 for 3. 4, Ms. Lively had a clear, likely motive to bully her way into buying the rights for It Starts With Us, the sequel to the film owned by Wayfarer. That I remember. So of the 4 allegations, I do remember 3 of them being put out there as solid narratives against Blake Lively. So if you're watching me live, let me know in the chat if any of those are familiar to you, or if you're watching this as part of my VOD Squad playback posse, let me know in the comment section. The scenario planning document states that TAG could also explore planting stories about the weaponization of feminism and how people in Blake Lively's circle, like Taylor Swift, have been accused of utilizing these tactics to bully into getting what they want. Upon review of the scenario planning document, Mr. Baldoni informed Mr. Heath that he was not in love with the document they sent. Not sure, I'm feeling the protection I felt on the call. Mr. Heath responded, "That's the most important part of this, is how quickly they can shut things down and place stories in your favor." Later the same day, Ms. Abel conveyed to Ms. Nathan that Mr. Baldoni was questioning whether the plan was aggressive enough, texting that Mr. Baldoni wanted to feel like Ms. Lively could be buried. Ms. Nathan responds, "Of course, but you know when we send over the documents, we can't send over." So those are some of the things that we saw earlier on in the complaint. So let's just skip over to the texts that say it. So you see Jennifer texting Melissa. You can, of course, do that, but I do think he needs to know. I'm going to confidentially send you something. He's texting me and Jamie on the side just to arm you before this call. I think you guys need to be tough and show the strength of what you guys can do in these scenarios. He wants to feel like she can be buried. And then you've got Melissa responding, "We can't write it down to him. We can't write, we will destroy her. We will go to this. We will do this. We will do this." And then she followed that up by saying, "He has to look at it as an information document to be armed with. That's all. Imagine if a document saying all the things he wants ends up in the wrong hands." So these are the things that they felt comfortable saying in text messages, right? That he wants to bury her, destroy her and stuff. And they were still kind of like censoring themselves, right? So imagine the things that were being said in phone calls that can't be traced, in-person meetings that can't be traced, right? Scary stuff, y'all. On August 4th, Ms. Abel texted Ms. Nathan stating, "I'm having reckless thoughts of wanting to plant pieces this week of how horrible Blake is to work with, just to get ahead of it. She's putting us through hell." So, wow. Ms. Lively was in fact doing nothing other than engaging in the approved marketing plan for the film at the time. Ms. Nathan responded, "Same," and indicated that she had already spoken to the Daily Mail. So there you go. They just wanted to destroy this woman because their client allegedly did something very wrong to her. She was speaking out, and the client, instead of accepting responsibility, growing and doing better, wanted to destroy her. And unfortunately, it's too easy to throw women to the wolves. And, especially when you've got outlets like the Daily Fail, where all they do is seed hatred, sow the seeds of hatred against people, particularly women. So these are proof of what it is that Blake is claiming. You see Jennifer very clearly texting Melissa about the reckless thought she's having of wanting to plant pieces of how horrible Blake is to work with, just to get ahead of the story. Melissa says that she wanted to do the same thing. And she also said that, "Am I already off the records? Spoke to the editor of the Daily Mail because she's my friend. She's ready when we are." So there you go. Yet another female journalist ready to lie, twist the truth in order to protect men, right? Ms. Abel and Ms. Nathan viewed and referred to their shared work on behalf of Mr. Baldoni and Wayfarer as a social combat plan. So there you go. They need to put it into motion. The same day, Ms. Abel corresponded with TAG personnel regarding her discussion with Ms. Nathan regarding social manipulation, which she described as distinct from social media mitigation and proactive fan posting to counter the narrative. So where was this? Because this is a different one. So this, I don't know if this is Slack or Teams or something like, this is an email. So this is an email that they subpoenaed. And it says, thanks, Katie. Just for clarity, so we understand, does this cover your initial fee plus what we discussed in terms of social media mitigation and proactive fan posting to counter the narrative? Or is this in addition to the $15K previously agreed upon fee for TAG and does not include what we discussed earlier, the social manipulation from the team based in Hawaii? And then voilà. Let me zoom back in for the rest of this lawsuit here. When media sources made direct inquiries regarding potentially unflattering stories about Mr. Baldoni, specifically Ms. Nathan, Ms. Abel, and their teams were able to suppress those stories. For example, on August 7, 2024, TAG indicated their intent to leverage social to quiet or kill media coverage regarding public suspicions regarding Mr. Baldoni's disconnect from the film's cast. On August 9, 2024, Ms. Nathan sent Ms. Abel 2 links to articles, one from The Hollywood Reporter entitled, Did Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni have a rift over It Ends With Us? Sleuthing TikTokers think so. And one from the Daily Mail entitled, Disturbing Truth Behind Why Blake Lively and Her It Ends With Us stars are feuding with Justin Baldoni. The Daily Mail article reports on allegations that Justin Baldoni was chauvinistic and borderline abusive on the set of It Ends With Us and discusses this and other claims with respect to the film and its cast in detail. Ms. Abel stated to Ms. Nathan, I can tell you've done a lot of work here, and continued, nothing about being unsafe. Fat comments actual, she concluded. Thank effing God. So there you go. These are the things that Blake Lively was accusing them of, and here they are talking about it in black and white, that Blake felt unsafe, she was body shamed, and she was actually harassed. Blake and her lawyers need to send these people a flower basket because, wow, are they ever dumb? On August 8, 2024, Ms. Abel stated that the situation had moved from just monitoring and scenario planning to Ms. Nathan and me having to have an off-the-record conversation with outlets such as the Today Show. Ms. Abel noted that because of Ms. Nathan's relationships, those outlets were being kept at bay. On August 9, 2024, Ms. Nathan indicated to Ms. Abel that she was on the phone with her sister, Sarah Nathan, a journalist at the New York Post and contributor to Page 6, and remarked that Mr. Baldoni's religion should be taken out from media coverage. She went on to state, and mostly the misogynistic. So Baha'i, that's his religion. Baha'i needs to be out. Do you guys know what that is, Baha'i? Anybody in the comment section, let me know if you are aware of this religion, Baha'i, or if you are part of my playback posse. Let me know, because I am totally out of the loop on this, because I could have sworn that people were saying that Justin Baldoni was more of a Zionist. So Baha'i sounds completely out of left field to me. Later that same day, Ms. Nathan texted Ms. Abel a link of an article on Page 6 by Sarah Nathan entitled, Truth Behind It Ends With Us, Feud Rumors. Justin Baldoni made Blake Lively uncomfortable, sources say, stating, I knew she would keep uncomfortable. On August 9th, Ms. Abel and Ms. Nathan, so basically because of these people's strong contacts and whatnot, even when their journalist friends had to report on the truth or, another side of things outside of Blake being this, terror to work with, they said, okay, we understand that these certain very, very serious things were happening. And because I'm friends with you, I will do you a solid, which is I will report on them because I have to, but I will sanitize them, right? So instead of talking about harassment, we're saying she felt uncomfortable. We're really whitewashing what happened here. On August 9th, 2024, Ms. Abel and Ms. Nathan discussed suppressing 2 stories that report Ms. Lively was uncomfortable on the set. Ms. Nathan texted, all press is so overwhelming. We've confused people. So much mixed messaging. It's actually really funny if you think about it. Which, is it though? Is it really? Jennifer was asking, are we in the clear now? Did we survive? Melissa says we survived. All press is overwhelming, confused, mixed messaging, funny. And then there's another text from Melissa Nathan. I really think the worst is over. I do think the next few months will definitely be a tiny bit bumpy, but not canceled. So basically, it worked, right? The following day, Ms. Abel stated that the narrative online is so freaking good. Here it is. I had some people text me too, and I just didn't respond. The narrative online is so freaking good, and fans are still sticking up for Justin. And there literally has been no pickup of those 2 articles, which is actually shocking to me. But I see this as a total success, as does Justin. You did such amazing work. Narrative is crazy good. So did you. The majority of socials are so pro-Justin, and I don't even agree with half of them. Mind you, that is the crisis manager. She's like, listen, I know he was up to some things, but these people, these sheeple, are sticking up for him and trashing Blake. Now, Melissa also says he doesn't realize how lucky he is right now. We need to press on him just how effing lucky. Well, here's the thing. It's not like he's been vindicated, like people could see through the lies. He got away with it. And again, this is 2 women celebrating a man getting away with bad behavior, getting away with fat shaming, allegedly actually harassing another woman, you know? Wow. They honestly should be ashamed of themselves. The whispering in the ear, see, then here she goes, incriminating him more, right? The whispering in the ear, the actual connotations like Jesus effing Christ, other members feeling uncomfortable watching it. I mean, there's just so much. So they admit that this stuff happened and there were witnesses. Jennifer says, nothing, very, very little pickup. Fans remain supportive of you and believe the issue of the feud is because she took control of the movie. The following day, Ms. Abel confirmed to Mr. Baldoni that there had been nothing, very little pickup. So that's the stuff that we had just seen. And then Melissa also said that they were crushing it on Reddit. So there you go. They have like these fake profiles and whatnot that were meant to be extremely pro Justin and anti Blake. It kind of makes me wonder about those snark subreddits because, I do like Reddit, but there are these things called snark subreddits where it's just a bunch of people who just attack. They claim to hate these people, right, that they report on or whatever in their snark Reddit, but they are fixated on them and their every breath and their every movement all day, every day. So I haven't checked yet if there is a Blake Lively snark Reddit or not, but I would like to know, if this kind of inspired them, because I know there is one for Taylor Swift. And there are a few other ones for other people, and they're just so toxic. They really are. Happy Christmas Eve, Jaleesa. Hope you are doing well on this beautiful holiday day. Melissa's reference to Jed is a reference to Mr. Jed Wallace, an independent contractor based in Austin, Texas, who was retained by TAG to perform social media services on behalf of Wayfair and Mr. Baldoni in connection to TAG's engagement. The quotation appears to be a reference to efforts by Mr. Wallace to seed and influence online forums on Reddit attacking Ms. Lively and defending Mr. Baldoni. The same day, an employee of TAG texted a link to a salacious story about Ms. Lively's family and noted. So here it is. Jennifer, someone who is anonymous here, texted Jennifer saying, you guys will love this. And it's a TikTok video. Basically saying that Blake needs to divorce Ryan because he's made her into a meme. He's ruining her biggest movie of the year, forcing her to ostracize Justin, rewriting the script, etc. Wow. And they knew it wasn't true, but they're celebrating the fact that people, were convinced that that was the truth, right? Then she also said socials are really ramping up. It's actually sad because it shows you have people who really want to hate on women. And so you find that sad, yet you were the ones stoking the flames of this, right? Like, it's just insane. It really, really is. The same day, a member of TAG team advised of a shift on social due largely to Jed and his team's efforts to shift the narrative towards shining a spotlight on Blake and Ryan. His team so far, extremely limited pickup on Daily Mail or Page 6. We'll continue to keep an eye out and send pieces as needed, but so far it's been steady coverage on pure speculation. We've also started to see a shift on social due largely to Jed and his team's efforts to shift the narrative towards shining a spotlight on Blake and Ryan. Again, we'll continue to send links and screenshots, but wanted to send an update in the meantime. So that's why you started seeing Ryan roped into all of this, and Ryan, his own reputation suffered. So here's my thing now, because we do know that Ryan's reputation suffered as well, and he is a man with like really big companies. One of his companies, I believe, and I hate even saying this, I think it's a meme at this point, the way we act like everyone's a damn billionaire, but people are saying that one of his companies is worth about $1 billion or something. Will he come in here and be added to this lawsuit? Because his image took a hit, his reputation, his businesses, right? Do you think he's going to join? Let me know in the chat if you're watching live, or if you're part of my playback posse, let me know in the comment section. Further, Ms. Nathan and her team at Tag helped generate or otherwise influence the content put forth by various TikTok account holders. During the same period of time, Ms. Nathan, Ms. Abel, and their teams were heavily monitoring, had friendlies updating them, and sought to address unflattering commentary regarding Mr. Baldoni while augmenting the spread of stories that were favorable to Mr. Baldoni. For example, on August 9th, 2024, Ms. Abel circulated a screenshot of a post by a woman stating, quote, "Justin, the creator of a show called My Last Days, exploits the struggles of individuals facing terminal illnesses for his own gain. He found my friend, who was battling a serious illness, and followed her life closely. Despite her grace in not speaking ill of him, I sensed from the start that something was deeply wrong. Justin weaponizes therapeutic language, presenting himself as thoughtful and supportive, yet his actions reveal a very different reality. He portrays himself as an ally to women and the vulnerable, but it's all a facade. He manipulates the vernacular of care to mask his true intentions. In reality, none of the proceeds from the show benefited, the individuals he profiled. He even had the audacity to depict her hometown, a vibrant and affluent community, as a small, impoverished town. His portrayal was not just inaccurate, but insulting. Once the show aired, Justin took his profits and vanished, leaving nothing but a sense of exploitation in his wake. His behavior was not just tacky and gross, it was a betrayal of the very people he claimed to uplift. Listen, that is a damning statement of his character, if I have ever seen one. Like, wow, to do that to terminally ill people, what's off limits for you next, right? Courtney says, Baha'i is a monotheistic religion for the 19th century. They believe in the unity of religions. They don't take drugs or drink unless doctor gives it. That's very interesting. Thank you so much for helping us with the definition, because I was lost. That's interesting. I'm gonna have to go take a look more into this after the stream. Wow. In response to the article, Ms. Abel stated, "I'm assuming this is not true in the slightest. Either way, we flagged Jed and his team for more serious action on the social side." Listen, they did a fantastic job, because this is the first time that I had ever heard of that statement or that article against Justin Baldoni. Similarly, on August 13th, 2024, the team discussed ways to use the digital team to amplify positive stories about Mr. Baldoni. Likewise, on August 18th, an employee of Tag suggested that they chat with Jed in response to other allegations made online regarding Mr. Baldoni. So this is proof of that, from Jennifer to about 3 different people. So this girl is claiming that Justin invited her up to his hotel room years ago. "I didn't want to share the video, but blank did a screen record, and this is her account, so you guys can look at it. Part of me wants blank, his former assistant, to comment and say this never happened." Ridiculous. Wow. Then we've got more anonymous things. Let's chat to Jed as well on this. "On any occasion, any member of Wayfair or the social manipulation team could text the link to a positive story about Mr. Baldoni or a negative story about Ms. Lively and ask that someone boost the story to the public or engage in the comments to fuel the desired narrative. On August 18th, 2024, Mr. Baldoni circulated a TikTok video in which the poster criticized Ms. Lively for not speaking about domestic violence in press interviews. a member of Ms. Nathan's team responded that she would let digital know. During the same period of time, when media sources inquired about HR complaints that were made on the set of the film, Ms. Nathan, Ms. Abel, and their teams worked to suppress coverage of these HR complaints. Further, on or around August 14th, 2024, media outlets directly inquired about HR complaints made on set because they were, quote, being told there were at least 3 HR complaints filed against Justin Baldoni on the set of It Ends With Us, and inquired if the complaints were investigated and what the results were. So it's not saying that all 3 of these complaints, and they're saying at least, not exclusively 3, right? Were made against him. They're not saying that they were all made by Blake, right? So I'm looking forward to continuing to learn more about what was going on. And I think it's interesting that his religion is against gossiping when, he's paying people to spread negative and false gossip about someone in order to destroy their lives, allegedly. I cannot believe he sent a Trojan horse weight loss doctor by saying it was to help with something else. Isn't it? Imagine you are suffering from strep, and strep is extremely painful to have. You ask someone for help, they refer you to a doctor, and then you go to the doctor and they're like, oh, I thought you were here because you're fat. Because that's what I do. I don't know a damn thing about strep throat. That is cruel. It truly, truly is. And I saw pictures of Blake. By the way, I tried to watch the movie last night, but it's not available on Netflix France, so I have to use a VPN. Long story. So I didn't get to watch it. But I saw pictures of her during the film and during the press run, and she was a perfectly normal, happy, healthy size. So what was he even talking about? And my first reaction was, wow. And that is after having 4 kids. She looks incredible. Man. More text messages or emails. Hey guys, read the TMZ thing about the HR complaints. Our understanding is that 2 were from Blake and blank were the sexy comment. Is the additional one from blank the thing with Jamie and her apartment in NYC? Just want to clarify. So there you go, people. Listen, guys, his own team has said on numerous occasions now, here in multiple texts and emails, that he was doing bad things, that he was doing the things that Blake is accusing him of doing. They're saying, listen, was it the time that he did the sexy comment to Blake? Or was it the time he did something with some girl in her apartment? Why are there multiple HR complaints against this man? Approximately 1 minute later, Ms. Abel asserted the need to position the claims as claims that are already out there about the kiss and the weight comment, referencing earlier public reporting by TMZ on Mr. Baldoni's lingering kiss with Ms. Lively and Mr. Baldoni's comments regarding Ms. Lively's weight on set. So there you go. I think we need to position it as the claims that are already out there about the kiss and weight comment. On or about the same date, Ms. Nathan directly engaged with several media platforms discussing the issue of the HR complaints made against Mr. Baldoni while on the set of the film. On August 15th, Ms. Nathan texted Ms. Abel that DM hounded me, that's the Daily Mail, about the HR complaints. She says that they're not running any content about it. Continuing, Jen, this is so well, I am effing dying. I have to call you later in a bit and tell you how it went. It was genius. So, okay, we have the 4 majors standing down on HR complaint. So all of these media outlets were complicit in hiding a massive, massive, massive sexual harassment scandal. For what? They were paid to destroy Blake's reputation. Wow. During the same period of time, Ms. Nathan and her team at TAG planted or otherwise were involved in generating or influencing the content publicly put forth on social media, including Reddit and TikTok, as well as online media sources. For example, on August 13th, various text messages were exchanged between Ms. Abel and the journalist Sarah Nathan, who, as explained above, is Melissa Nathan's sister. These messages consisted of drafts of a story outlining Ms. Lively's role in making final cuts to the film. After Sarah Nathan circulated draft language related to Ms. Lively's involvement in the different cuts of the film, Ms. Abel sent Sarah Nathan revisions to the draft, which Sarah Nathan offered to amend. On the same day, an article authored by Sarah Nathan titled "Blake Lively Approved Final cut of It Ends With Us, amid feud with co-star director Justin Baldoni, was published in Page Six, owned by the New York Post. And I gotta tell you, I reference Page Six sometimes in my stories, but they are trash. Like, they really, truly bully a lot of women on their website. They're really, really toxic. So this does not surprise me at all. The article addressed, among other topics, Ms. Lively's role in approving the final cut of the film, but emphasizes how Ms. Lively contributed to almost every aspect of the film, that her husband wrote one of the most important scenes in the movie, and that she was begged to remove one of her song choices from the film, despite Mr. Baldoni's ownership of the rights to the book via his production company, Wayfarer. The language contained in the article is almost a verbatim copy of the language exchange between Sarah Nathan and Ms. Abel via text, and reflects multiple of Ms. Abel's revisions to Sarah Nathan's original proposed draft. TAG publicly shared this article on one or more social media platforms, including Reddit, prompting various negative comments in relation to Ms. Lively and her husband, and the narrative that Ms. Lively steamrolled or bulldozed Mr. Baldoni and the film for her own personal gain. And then they've got the links. So FOMOI, the subreddit FOMOI, it's a really, really big entertainment subreddit. And they've got that link there if you guys want to see what it looked like at the time. So guys, wow, I can't believe it's already 2:50. Here it's 2:51. So I've got about 10 more minutes of reading before I have to hit the road. I got to go to the store, grab some last minute stuff for Christmas, because you know me, I'm a last minute girly. But yeah, I'll have to find another time to full-blown finish reading this. But yeah, let's continue getting as much as possible. Thank you so much for joining me for this, by the way. The very same day, Ms. Nathan sent an article from the Daily Mail entitled, "Is Blake Lively Set to Be Cancelled?" String of hard-to-watch videos that have surfaced following tone-deaf Q&A to promote It Ends With Us could tarnish 36-year-old star's golden Hollywood image for good. I remember that article. That was a groundbreaking article, actually, in all of this. Ms. Abel stated, "You really outdid yourself with this piece." And then Ms. Nathan responded, "That's why you hired me, right? I'm the best." Following the August 2024 launch of Ms. Lively's hair care line, Blake Brown, which she spent 7 years building, the Instagram account of the brand was flooded by harassing and derogatory comments, including many posted by user accounts that had no followers and no prior posts, suggesting inauthenticity, and which did not relate to the brand's products. To take just one example, one comment posted on the Blake Brown account by a user that as of December 19th, 2024 shows user metrics indicating 0 posts, 0 followers, and 0 following, commented, "How about you stop paying the media to trash and smear Justin? That would be a good start, you awful human being." Another user, also with 000, posted, "We want Justin's cut of the movie. He actually cares about DV." Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Sarowitz, along with Mr. Heath, not only encouraged efforts to target Ms. Lively and her family, but they went as far as to provide input and ideas on ways to negatively influence the narrative against Ms. Lively and her family. So again, you see more of the sources that they've tagged here, Page 6, Daily Mail, Instagram. For instance, on August 9th, 2024, the film's release date, after sharing certain negative articles about himself with Ms. Abel, Mr. Baldoni stated, "There's no way we can just let this go." Additionally, on August 15th, 2024, Mr. Baldoni texted Ms. Nathan and Ms. Abel, stating that his business partner, Mr. Sarowitz, suggested flipping the narrative arising from unnamed sources who had made false claims about Mr. Reynolds' involvement in the script of the film. So here are the messages that we're going to go read. They are specifically from Justin to his PR people. "No worries, quickly. My partner Steve asked about flipping the narrative from this leak this morning about Ryan saying script was a disaster and he saved the movie. To something about Ryan claiming the female hired was feminist writer, didn't know how to tackle a female film, etc., using their own words against them. Ms. Nathan assured Mr. Baldoni that this is an easy flip, before indicating that she was already working on a story for Variety that would achieve this goal." Oh, not Variety. I like Variety. Damn it. Is no outlet safe and trustworthy? As of August 16th, 2024, Ms. Nathan was continuing to confer with additional reporters to release stories that would cast Ms. Lively and or Mr. Reynolds in a negative light. Meanwhile, Ms. Lively neither publicly commented nor directed any of her representatives to comment to or engage with the print media, social media, or otherwise about the hostile work environment Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, and Wayfarer created. Indeed, throughout the time period discussed herein, Ms. Lively did not provide her publicist with details about the hostile work environment that she, alongside the other cast members and crew, had experienced. Moreover, Ms. Lively expressly instructed her publicist not to engage with press inquiries, including ones regarding the on-set behavior of Mr. Baldoni, Heath, or Wayfarer. Wow, so there you go. It seems like she was doing the exact opposite of what it is that Justin was doing in anticipation of her behaving the way he behaved. Experiencing the very sudden tidal wave of the increasingly negative public attention building around her, however, Ms. Lively began to suspect that the extraordinarily rapid shift in public sentiment and press coverage that began immediately after the rest of the cast and crew attended the world premiere was likely orchestrated by the men about whom she had raised HR complaints. So now we're moving into section G, which I believe will be our last section for the day. Mr. Baldoni retaliated because HR complaints regarding his behavior threatened his feminist brand. On information and belief, Mr. Baldoni was desperate to suppress any suggestion that he engaged in an inappropriate conduct, much less actually harassing conduct, because it would entirely undermine his carefully curated public image as a feminist ally. In 2017, Justin Baldoni presented a TED Talk entitled, "Why I'm Done Trying to Be Man Enough." Mr. Baldoni challenged men to be man enough to stand up to other men when they hear locker room talk, when they hear stories of actual harassment. Mr. Baldoni asked listeners, will you actually stand up and do something so that one day we don't have to live in a world where a woman has to risk everything and come forward to say the words, "Me too"? That is haunting. Knowing that he was doing what he was doing behind the scenes, that he would go on to, because this was in 2017, right? Years before. But let me just read this again slowly, because this is haunting and this is disturbing. Will you actually stand up and do something so that one day we don't have to live in a world where a woman has to risk everything and come forward to say the words "Me too"? And look what happened. He tried to destroy a woman for coming forward and saying "Me too." Me too was a risk to everything that she had built over the years. Insane. Yes, Alicia, people are sick. Stay woke, y'all. Stay woke. Wow. Justin Baldoni truly is a wolf in sheep's clothing. I am disgusted. Women who do this to another woman are the women who voted for Trump. Oh, Lord. Isn't it scary? How many women are ready to ally with men to ruin the lives of other women? Insane. 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 Wow. I'm sad that we have to leave off on that note. Remember, it is Christmas Eve. This is the holidays. I would have, liked to leave off on like a more triumphant note, in regards to Blake. But unfortunately, that's where the time ends for me here. I do have to go to the grocery store, pick up some last minute groceries. I will be back here live 10 a.m. I will be back live here at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the morning report. Just as a reminder for you guys, there will not be a morning report tomorrow on Christmas Day. So I do want to go ahead and wish you guys a happy Christmas in advance for that. Another view heard moment. And speaking of, Amber Heard is speaking out, saying she experienced the exact same thing. Lord, but take good care of yourselves, you guys. So sorry that this was such a heavy topic, but I am thankful that you are here to join me in reading this so that we can be armed with the information, like completely in whole, because it's great that there are like articles on like the internet and stuff that like recap it, but there's nothing like reading it from A to Z. What page are we on? There are 80 pages total, and we just finished the 52nd page. We are over halfway through. So I believe I will come back on the 26th, do the final read through, and we will be fine moving forward. In the meantime, have a wonderful day, you guys, and I will see you very soon for the morning report. I'm going to do these little errands and hop back on for that show in about 1 hour. Take care, guys. Bye. Happy holidays.